Thank you so much for tuning into my channel. My name is Dr. Connie Chung. I have an extensive educational background. I have a bachelor's degree in psychology, master's in nutrition, a doctorate in physical therapy, been a clinician for over 25 years, as well as board certified in Institute of Functional Medicine in functional medicine. And I'm a ERYT certified at the 500 hour with Yoga Alliance. All that being said, I utilize yoga as a specific tool to help you to regulate your nervous system, to really empower you, to really reach in to your own essence and your healing power from within, to heal from any kind of symptoms, whether it be physical, mental, and emotional, as well as chronic illnesses. I believe all the answers are within you, that we have a biochemical capacity and the ability to heal our own bodies if we can align from within, inside out. That's what we do here. Welcome, and I can't wait to get to know you better. Hey everyone, this is your hip opener. Come to a seated, easy seated position, sitting nice and tall. Close your eyes. Let's set the intention for the practice. Take a deep breath in through your nose and exhale slow. Take a deep inhalation and exhale. A deep inhalation and exhale slow. Allow the breath deep into your body as you inhale and out in a cleansing sweep. Deep inhalation and exhale. Just tune into your body. Know where your head is. Your spine perpendicular to the pelvic bowl. Seeing if you have any tension anywhere in your body. And knowing fully well what we're going through today. Set the intention for your practice. And bring your hands together and really say that intention. It might be a word, a phrase, something that empowers you. And as you get distracted during the practice, just come back to that phrase or a word or even a mantra. Gently close your eyes and stay tuned. Hands and knees, cat and camel. Hands directly below your shoulders, knees directly below your hips. Inhale, sink your belly, gaze up. Exhale, tuck tail, really scooping your navel to the spine and pushing, pushing, pushing. And inhale as you gaze up. And exhale, tuck and scoop and pull up. Inhale up. And exhale. And inhale. And exhale. Last one. Inhale. And exhale. Tuck and scoop. Tuck your toes down. Lift your hips. Heels up. And one by one, sink your heels one at a time. Firmly pressing the mat away with both of your hands through the palm sides. Preferably, avoid having all the weight in through your wrists. Really learn to grip the mat, to diffuse the weight along all 5 fingers. That helps to minimize the strain to your wrists. Swaying your hips side to side as we get warmed up. Gaze forward, right foot forward, and left. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead and back, center. Okay, we're gonna do Sun A 3 times. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead, palms to the mat as you fold from your hips. Inhale, gaze up, straight spine, palms flat, right foot back, left foot back, strong chaturanga as you exhale. Inhale, gaze up, shoulders drawn down, hips forward, tuck your toes, sink back to downward dog for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Gaze forward, right foot forward, and left. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead and back center. And again, inhale up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift. Palms down. Left foot back. Right foot back. Lower down slow. Pull up. Down dog for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Gaze forward, left foot forward and right. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead and really stretch up and back. Last one. Inhale up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift. Palms flat. Jump or step back and up and down dog for 5. I like to really press my heels down and sway my hips and get really into those deep crevices into my hip sockets. Taking a deep breath in and exhale. Swing your hips side to side. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Gaze forward, left foot forward and right. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead and back. I think that's 3. We're going to do Sun B. The way I like to do Sun B, keep your arms shoulder width apart, and that's the way it's taught in class. I like to keep my hands together. It makes it a little bit harder. I go inhale up, tuck your tailbone slightly under, really activate that extension while keeping my core engaged. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift. Palms flat, right foot back, left foot back. Strong chaturanga on 1 exhalation. Inhale, gaze up, strong up dog. Tuck your toes, down dog. Left heel in, right foot forward. Hands together. I like to keep my hands together for warrior 1. And back. Right foot back, lower down. Pull up. Down dog. Left foot forward. Palms together and come up. And down. Pull back. Lower down. Pull up. Down dog for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Gaze forward, right foot forward and left. Inhale, left. Exhale, forward. And sink your hips into chair and come back to mountain. Inhale up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift. Palms flat. Left foot back. Right. Lower down. Pull up. Up dog. Down dog. Left heel in. Right foot forward, come up, hands up, strong warrior one, down slow, right foot back, lower down, pull up, down dog, right heel in, left foot forward, come all the way up, strong legs, and down, left foot back, lower down slow, pull up, down dog for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Gaze forward, right foot forward and left. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Sink your hips, palms together, and come all the way up and back to standing. 2 more. Inhale up, or 1 more. Exhale down. Inhale, lift, palms flat. Left foot back, right foot back. Strong chaturanga, 1 exhalation. Inhale, strong up dog. Down dog. Left heel in, right foot forward. Come all the way up. Warrior 1. Exhale down. Right foot back, lower down. Inhale up. Down dog. Right heel in, left foot forward. Inhale up. And exhale. Left foot back, lower down. Inhale up. Down dog for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Gaze forward, right foot forward, left foot forward. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Sink your hips. Arms up. Gaze up and come all the way up to mountain pose. So now I'm going to face you. We're going to do chair series with isometrics. This is a little different than our hot sequence. So step the right foot out to the right. I'm going to bend forward, try to measure 2 fist width between the two feet. I want it exactly 11. Make 11 with your feet. When you look down, see if you can pull up the toes. It really enhances your inner arch. So I want more energy through the inner arches. Arms forward. Sink your hips down as you would in hot sequence. Look down. Make sure that the knees stay behind your toes. Like you're going to feel like you're going to get tipped over. And once you're here, you're going to do slight little pulses. 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you better feel that burn in your legs. Come all the way up slowly. Energize your arms to make sure you're not just hanging out with the arms, but make it be straight forward in line with the shoulders. Tuck your tailbone slightly under as if you're gliding down the back wall. Slowly, you're going to go down without falling over like I almost did. Heels up, heels up, heels up. Only go down as far as you can keep the heels up. I'm going to pulsate down 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And painfully, I'm going to come up. That really works your legs. And heels down. Come slightly up on your toes. Knees come together. And that's where you find your strength. And pretend like you have a back wall that you're sliding down. Nice and slow. Nice and slow. And from here, pulsate down. 1, 2. In class, I see that this happens really fast. See if you can really feel this. Control. And come up nice and slow with control. And get that strength from the inner thighs. The knees pushing together. Knees apart. Heels down. Arms down. Right foot steps back to the left. Inhale your arms up overhead. Right arm is going to squeeze under the left arm. You know the eagle. You're going to pull the palms together. Come up. Pull the elbows down. Now, if this is not available to you, no worries. Grab a hold of opposite shoulder, opposite hand, and pull the elbows down. And really squeeze your forearms. All joints line up under your nose. You're gonna sink down, tuck your tailbone under, really keep your alignment. Make sure when you look down that the knees stay behind your toes. Lift your toes up a little bit. Weight shift onto the left side, really squeeze. And stay here. And you're gonna go ahead and keeping that extension of your thoracic spine, come nice and slow. It's a balance as well as testing your strength and stability and balance and proprioception. 4 and 5. I'd like to take it really slow to really feel the control. And then I'm going to come up, right foot next to the left. Inhale, up, left arm next to the left or under the left. And pull the shoulders down. Sink my hips, weight shift onto my right side. Lift my left leg. Really keep my pelvis square towards the center. I'm not going to belabor the whole alkaline method for this one because I don't want to take up 2 hours of your time again. Really squeeze the shoulders, squeeze the thighs. Come down, level with the knees. Come back up with control. Gaze at the third eye, and that's the space between your eyes or eyebrows. 3, nice and slow. 4 and 5. Keeping it together. I'm always falling over or almost falling over. Come up, release. Arms raise up. Inhale, gaze up, and bring the hands to heart center. So this one, my favorite. It's one-legged chair. Lift your right knee up at hip level. Cross or place the right ankle on top of the left knee. Then toes up on the right toes up towards the shin. You're going to sink down, keeping the pelvis square. It's helpful to have a mirror in front of you and really avoid sinking into that left hip, finding that balance. Hands at the heart center. The deeper you can be, the better. Tuck your tailbone slightly. This might be a lot of stretch for many of you. You should be feeling it in your right hip. And if you pull the knees up or the toes up toward the knees, that's going to accentuate that stretch into the sciatic nerve. Stay here if you're good. Tuck your tailbone slightly under. Really activate that core. And if you're good, place your hands down. And if you have a mirror in front of you, I like to make sure that my pelvis is square, that I'm not tweaked in any way. And so you can stay here and breathe and really go further into this stretch. And it feels really good. Take another breath in and exhale and come back slowly. Hands at the heart center and come all the way up. Release. Same thing on the opposite side. Left leg up. Cross that left ankle on top of the right knee. Sink your hips down, 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 keeping the pelvis square. Left toes up toward the shins, chest back, tucking your tailbone slightly under. Stay here. Many of you just work on getting this stretch and balance, right? I'm going to go further for those of you who can. Go all the way down, and again, my left hip is always tighter. I'm going to try really hard to keep my left hip down and really get deeper into that left hip. The left hip rotator, toes up. And remember, you guys, because you guys don't have the added heat, this might feel a lot more intense. So coming up nice and slow, and releasing the left foot next to the right. Come to Samastiti. Next is wallflower. We're going to do some wallflower squats. So I'm going to extend or open up my feet out. So the feet should be wide enough, to where when you sink and squat into this, that the knees can stay aligned with the second toe of your feet, and toes are up. And I'm always looking for the toes up because that accentuates the arch, and many of you have collapsing arches, and I want you guys to keep that together. So in this position, inhale up, exhale down, sink as low as you can, keeping your tailbone tucked. Inhale up, exhale down 2, inhale up, exhale down 3, inhale up, exhale down 4, inhale up, exhale down 5. And you stay here, and now you're going to do gentle pelvic tilts, right? So you're going to make sure that your muscles are going, knees are energetically going back, toes are up, knees are directly above your second toe. And from here, provocative, if you have a side mirror, that will be good. Tail out and tuck. Tail out and tuck. There's no movement in the legs, it's burning. But all you're doing is tail goes out and then tucking that under, and you should be feeling a lot of stretch in through the inner thighs and into the hip socket. And exhale, 3, and 4, and 5. And this time, I'm gonna go into Skandasana to the left side. And if you want to, use your floor. In fact, I advise that you do. Keep your hands there and go here. And then stretch into each of the hips in preparation for. And on the third one, stay on the left side. And stay here. Toes up on the right leg, really stretching away. Really pull the heel down to anchor. Align yourself by opening up. Place your left hand in front of the left knee, extending out in front. Inhale up and stretch further away. And if you can't be this far down, you guys know you can be higher up, and that's a lot of stretch in itself. And you guys will be working a lot of the hip rotator as well. Opening up, take a deep breath in and exhale. And if you have the flexibility, you can create a bind by grabbing a hold of or interlacing your hands together. I don't like to sink into my hips, but I like to come just above my threshold to make sure I'm working into my hip rotator on the left side, okay? I'm gonna pull out, and I'm gonna go to the right and stretch the inner thighs, and then to the left and stretching into this thigh again. And I'm gonna settle down on the right side. I'm gonna stay here, placing my right upper arm in front of my right knee, making sure that I'm anchored on the left heel and my right foot, reaching forward with my right hand. That's my anchor place, right? I'm gonna pull out slightly from my right hip to make sure I'm using my muscles, that I'm not sinking into my ligaments and my rotator cuff and the capsule, the hip capsule. I'm gonna reach up and stretch into this left side. Feels so good. I'm really anchored through that heel. So when I stretch away, it really gets all my QLs, obliques, hip flexors on this left side. Feels super good. And because I took a bound or bind on the other side, I'm gonna take a bind this way. I'm gonna pull up and out just slightly. Notice my hips, look at my hips. I can just be here, woo, sorry you guys. I can just be here, just sinking, but I always choose to come out just a little bit to make sure I'm working into my hips. So from there, I'm gonna come back to the center. Inhale up and exhale. So the warrior series, come to the top of your mat. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. Exhale, fold forward, palms to the mat. Inhale, lift, palms flat, right foot back, left foot back. Lower down slow, pull up, gaze up, and down dog. Left heel turns in, right foot forward. And I'm going to go into warrior one. And I'm going to give you a strong warrior, directing this left hip forward and really sinking down into this right hip. And centering my spine right over in balance with my pelvis, square over my pelvis. And staying here, take a gaze to the ceiling, to your arms or your hands. Really extending up, taking a deep breath in and exhale. Navel towards the fingertips and navel down toward the right foot and the left foot. I'm going to bring my arms down, interlace into humble warrior, keeping your pelvis square toward the front. Very, very strongly, I'm going to pull my upper body down and really pull up with my hands. I'm doing everything I can to keep my right hip oriented forward. Taking a deep breath in and really getting a deep stretch into my shoulders and come up. Slow. Open up my arms into warrior two. And really sinking down into my hips. Left hip goes back. Right hip goes forward. Right knee is oriented back. Strong arms. And my spine is right square over my pelvis. Gaze forward. Reverse warrior. I don't sink down into this back leg. Even weight between left and the right foot. Extend my right arm up. I'm going to follow my gaze up towards my right fingertips. This allows me this extension and this lift that I need, making sure that I have my core activated into deep side angle. I'm going to go down. Many of you just stay here and really pull the left hip back, right knee forward. I'm going to choose to go all the way down. Right hand in front of the right foot. Lift up, so I'm making a nice line from my left fingertips all the way down to the left foot. Gaze up, take a deep breath in, and exhale. And really twist your spine up toward the ceiling, squeezing your belly. And when you're ready, bring your left hand down, both hands on the inside of your right foot. This might be enough stretch for you. And it's important the way we do lizard. You'll see this done every which way. I like to have my lizard so that to keep my alignment, the right knee above my right ankle, and keeping that alignment, I'm going to push down and stretch into my left hip and stay there. And if you're able to do further or have the flexibility, I'm going to go down to my elbows and just breathe into my right hip. The way I get more safe stretch is I really push down into my right foot. That gives me a counter force to safely stretch into my right hip. Try that, you guys. Really push down the weight into the right foot. Now it's going to give you an odd contraction into your hips to where you can go a little bit further down. Come up very slowly, staying on the top of your left knee. Coming up. And reach up, hands together, bring it at the heart center. Left elbow is going to go on the outside of the right knee. And this is where it's super important to engage your core. Really root through your feet, the front right foot, and the back toes, and into the top of your left knee. Really twist, 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 keeping your pelvis square, and hands on either side of the right foot. You can either go straight to down dog or choose to flow through. And down dog. We're going to repeat the same thing on the opposite side. So you'll see the back side of me. Right heel turns in, left foot forward. Come high up, strong legs, strong arms. Gazing up, take a deep breath in and exhale. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Interlace your hands behind you, staying square over your pelvis. Bring both your shoulders down, really keeping the energy of my left hip going back as to not hurt my hip. Go down very cautiously so you really feel the grounding of your left foot and the back foot as you gently stretch into this left hip. Go down, take a deep breath in and exhale. And come slowly up, up, up. Bring your arms up, open up to the side. Line up the heels and really sink into the left knee. And really opening the right hip back, left hip forward. Arms out and gaze forward. Strong reverse warrior. Gaze up, towards the fingertips, not collapsing on the right side of the torso. Come back, deep side angle. This is a really weak hip for me, so I'm gonna really be cautious not to use my flexibility, but really get into my hips to go into this deep side angle and breathe. And those of you who don't or aren't able to, this is something you can work towards, or you can have a block, or you can be here. But just make sure you're pushing your foot down to activate the hip muscles. And breathe. And slowly bring your right hand down and really square your hips toward the front and make sure that the knee is right over the left ankle. Hands on the inside of that left foot, squaring your pelvis. You can choose to keep the right knees up. I'm going to choose to bring it down. That's going to accentuate the stretch a little bit. And once here, remember I told you, pushing down into this foot is going to give you a controlled stretch into the hip. So this hip is going back, right hip is orienting forward. Energetically is what I'm talking about. And I'm going to come down to get into more of a stretch. And I really feel a good stretch into my capsule in ways I can't get otherwise. Because you guys don't have the heat, please be careful and mindful of the lack of the heat providing enough stretch. Sometimes we go a little bit more than we ought to otherwise with the heat. We don't have the heat, so be mindful of your body. Read into it. Come up slowly. Coming out of this stretch slowly is super important. Come up. I'm on the top of my right knee, not right on my kneecap. Super important. As I push my hips forward, I have the polarity effect to go back, to keep my pelvis square. So a lot of core. There's a lot of deceleration going with my muscles to keep me safe. Arms up, hands at heart center. Right elbow on the outside of the left knee and twist. And energetically, left hip is pushing forward, or actually pushing back. Right hip is going forward. So it's like canceling out those opposing forces to give me more stability. And coming back, hands on either side. We're going to flow back, or you can meet us in down dog. And down dog. I wish I can say a lot more, but a lot of the times I don't know how much time I take up when I say everything I need to say. So please write and let me know if you want me to break some things down for you. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Gaze forward, right foot forward on the outside of my right foot and left. And I'm going to sit into this malasana pose. And you may not have this flexibility, so feel free to use a bolster, whatever you were taught in class, to be in this position. What I'm looking for is the tailbone rooted straight down. Really important to anchor through your feet. Lift your toes to really engage the muscles of your legs. Tucking your tailbone under, giving me a lot of core. Polarity comes from the navel to the crown of the head. Navel to rooting down into both feet. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Take a deep breath in and exhale. And as you pull up, I'm like really pushing into my knees or inside of my knees and pushing it apart. Continue to tuck your tailbone slightly under, and I'm really mindful of lifting my toes up so I'm not all in my hips and overly stretching and straining into my hip capsules. Sinking and lifting at the same time. I'm going to start with the right side. I'm going to either, if you have the ability to, reach in front of you with the right hand, reach up with the left arm. And this might be all you can do. The whole time I want you to focus on keeping your pelvis square. If you have the bind, I want you to pull back and see if you can interlace the hands together, but don't shift your weight to the right side. I want you to look forward to make sure that the pelvis and the knees are 100% square toward the front. Really squeeze your belly to get a little bit more of a rotation. We need the stabilizing hips and the knees and the feet to allow the spine to rotate, right? We don't want it to go and shifting into the right side. And let's bring it back. Reach the left hand in front of the right knee. Reach up with the right arm and reach back and take a bind. Now you can see what I'm doing. Typically, if I can, I like to grab the wrist of the side that I'm reaching back with to get a little bit of a decompression into my wrist joints. And again, being very mindful that I'm not shifting my weight. And being very mindful that I'm staying square toward the front and really, really, really squeezing my belly to get the rotation. And then come back. And as you do that, reach back and come back because we're about to go into a boat. So for boat, this is what I want you guys to remember. I don't want you to round your spine to get your legs up like this. I want you to really pull up, 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 and see if you can get this extension in the back and really squeeze in through the belly. And when I mean engaging your belly, I really want the navel toward the spine. It shouldn't pooch out. It should be sucking in. Everything's interlacing together. You should feel things coming in like a corset tightening. That's the feel that I want. I want you to see if you can straighten your legs if you have that availability. If not, you can just keep staying here and sitting up nice and tall. I'm going to choose to keep my legs up. And rather than reaching up, because that makes it most impossible to keep the chest or the spine extended, although I don't know how strong you guys are, but my legs are shaking like crazy. And this is where I really like to work my hip flexors and reaching and really a lot of core engagement, taking a deep breath in and exhale. This is where whenever I see or hear Gina or any of our hot yoga teachers, like they prolong this process, I really enjoy it because it really strengthens my hips. And then coming back, cross at your ankles and slightly lift and back. And you can work up to that. And go back. You can either do a flow or meet us in down dog. Okay, right leg lifts straight up. And this is where I want you to keep your pelvis square. I like to keep my heels up and down just to get a little bit more stretch into my left hip for the pigeon on that side. But for this right side, I really want to open this knee up. Toes up towards my shin while keeping my shoulders square toward the center. So I'm not like really tweaking my spine, but I'm trying to keep everything square while stretching into my hips. And then I'm going to gaze forward, place the outer edge of my, or pinky side of my foot between my hands. And I know in hot sequence in class, we don't do the pulsations up and down to warm it up. But because we don't have a heat, I'm going to warm it up. Inhale up, exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down. One more. Inhale up and exhale down. And really place your hips down and cross this leg over, hands on either side. And come forward, come onto your elbows, squaring your hips toward the fronts. And really take a deep breath in and exhale. 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 Come back. I'm going to flow through the opposite side. Up, down dog, left side. And this time I want to just give my right hip a little bit of a stretch. It's really into my hamstrings. And when I'm doing this, you guys, I'm trying really hard to keep my left leg engaged too. And down, because it's really hard to like forget to pay attention to the opposite side that you're not working. So I'm trying really hard to keep my toes up. See, I forgot to. And keeping my pelvis square toward the front, really getting that stretch into that hip. I'm going to reach up, gaze forward, bring my left foot from the pinky side down between my hands. I'm going to straighten and lower just to stretch into it. 2, 3, and come down and stretch. I'm trying really hard to keep my pelvis square toward the front and really staying nice and long. All the things, if you guys haven't watched my Hot 75, the 2-hour class, where I was very verbose about a lot of the poses, please watch that as a fundamental exercise to make sure that you're doing everything appropriately. From here, I'm going to come onto my forearms, breathing into my left leg, taking a deep breath in and exhale. Really pushing down to feel into that left hip, taking a deep breath in and exhale. And come back. And I'm going to flow one last time. Come back. Gaze forward, right foot forward, and left foot forward. I'm going to sink my hips all the way down into cow face pose. I like to start with my right knee facing forward. And then it's almost like lacing your knees together, or like shoelacing your knees together. I like to line up my knees, hands down on either side, lift my hips up to orient without the weight bearing, just to make sure that I can get that there, and then start to lower. And if you're really, really tight, it's going to really pinch deeply into the side, so please be careful not to do too much. This is something you have to work on. I don't do the hot sequence on a regular basis simply because of time, but this is an exercise like that gets me every time, especially on this left hip. So please be mindful that you're not tearing things in. So pull out of it. Even if you're here and putting your foot down, that's fine. And then if you're here, try pushing the foot down toward the mat to create a counter effect. Just a little bit of activation in those muscles might help. Sitting up nice and tall, hands on either side of the knee, chest forward and go forward and ease into it, creating that squareness in your hips, in your pelvis. Taking a deep breath in and exhale. Taking a deep breath in and exhale. Taking a deep breath in and exhale. And taking a deep breath in and exhale. And come back very slowly. We're going to do the other side. So gently undo your legs, and again, place your left knee down, or the outer legs, and then bring the right knee over. Hands on either side of the knees, and really interlace and squeeze your thighs together and settle your hips down. Ideally, you want the feet equal distance from the hips. Mine's not even getting there. So it's a super hard position, and it's really, really hurting my hips in ways I don't like. So I'm going to work into that. But again, remember, any part of the pose is pose. It's your pose. So please do not hurt anything. Sitting up nice and tall, I'm just like breathing into it, and I like to just ease into it. And whenever I feel the tightness, I like to breathe into that joint and just allow the tightness to be, and see if neurologically I can let go of the tightening of the muscles. If I can just breathe into it to relax into it. That's what I go for. Taking a deep breath in and exhale forward, hands on either side of the knees. Taking a deep breath in and exhale. Taking a deep breath in and exhale. Taking a deep breath in and exhale. Come back. We're going to do a Pilates roll down. So bring your feet forward and come out of these poses very gently. In the seated postures, we sequence and use the Pilates roll up as the transition. Hands go forward. It's parallel to the floor. Really starting at the pelvis, I start to round down as slow as possible. And I'm really grounding through my legs to get that stability. Inhale up. And you really have to really brace yourself to long enough to really pull in to come forward all the way down and sitting up nice and tall. That's the Pilates roll up. So Baddha Konasana, bring your feet together, sitting up nice and tall. What's more important to me is that you have pelvic anterior tilt to kind of go forward as opposed to being here. So if you have tight hips, please elevate your pelvis on a bolster or a cushion at home to elevate, or even books or blocks work too. Sit up nice and tall, keeping the knees down. So there's that polarity, right? Anchoring your knees down, and that's the energetic down. And you're pulling up. That's always a polarity, right? And then understanding the core activation, coming forward and breathing in to, again, that space where it's really tight. The whole time you're keeping your or your whole spine in a slightly extended position. Find your core. And as you push the knees down, you're going to find the ability to go a little bit more and really stretch into the proper areas of your hips. And then coming up nice and slow. And it's going to be, again, Pilates roll down. Come up, sitting up nice and tall, roll nice and slow down. I promise you guys, this gets easier. Arms up and come up. And you really have to get enough momentum, enough to roll up nice and slow. And come up. Next is fire log. It's basically having your shins stacked on top of the other. As you can see, I'm going to have my right outer thigh down, and I'm going to have my shin parallel to the side edge of the mat. Then I'm going to stack the other hip. As you can see right here, you see how much it lifts, right? It's pretty tight. Toes up. And I'm going to try my best to stack them, toes up, and really feel the stretch into my hips. Taking a deep breath in and out, I'm really going to stretch into that hip, sitting up. And until this is settled down, I don't go forward. So I'm going to keep going forward this way. Go forward, go forward, and breathing into this left hip. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Wanting to give me kisses. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Good. And come back. And I'm going to place my left outer thigh down. And then the right knee down. So I'm stacking and then pulling my toes back towards the shins. Sitting up nice and tall. And really keep your pelvis lined and squared. And then pulling down, really pushing down to go up and keeping that extension of the spine. Taking a deep breath in and exhale. Taking a deep breath in and exhale. Taking a deep breath in and exhale. Woo! Look happy. Taking a deep breath in and exhale. Taking a deep breath in and exhale. Coming back. Sitting up. Again, Pilates roll down. Rolling down nice and slow. Arms go up and up. And stack your spine up. On to the next one. Spine twisting. I like to keep the knees bent. You can keep the bottom leg straight like this. Keep it straight. Place the right knee. In fact, let's just do it this way for the sake of, because we get the other spine twisting the other way in the hot 75. Spine square, your sit bones are level and even. Cross the right knee on the outside of the left knee. The whole length of the left leg is active. So really squeeze your muscles there. Raise your left arm up. Let's put right hand right behind you to keep your spine nice and tall. Hook the left elbow on the outside of the right knee. And really press through all 5 toes down with the right foot. toes up on this side. You see my heel of my left foot is lifted. I'm going to reach, and I'm going to keep my spine nice and straight. Squeeze my belly and gazing back. And breathe. And go forward and release. Extend the right knee forward. Place the left ankle on the outside of the right knee. Sitting up nice and tall, keep the sit bones nice and level. Place your left hand behind you. Right arm all the way up. Hook it on the outside of the left knee. And do you see how my toes started to go that way? I really have to catch it. And so really be mindful. And then rotate that way. Toward the back, squeezing my belly. Really keeping my right quads active. And reaching back. And back center, and release. Sitting up nice and tall, toes up towards your shin, arms extended forward. Inhale, sit up nice and tall, tuck and scoop and roll all the way down, roll all the way down. Arms reach up, and inhale, exhale. Come all the way up nice and slow, really paying attention to your core. And sitting up nice and tall. I'm going to straddle my mat out this way. It's going to be straddled head to knee. I love this pose, and we're going to revolve, and there's going to be a little bit of a twist. I like to twist over to the right side first, and then slowly lower down, or you can keep your right hand in front of you, or in front of the right thigh or knee. Extend your left arm up, and then as you go down, you can stay up, really pulling this up. I like to go all the way down and reach. And you know, the whole time I'm thinking left hip is glued to the mat to create this nice stretch that I needed into my left QL, left hips, and left hip flexors, and reaching up. Toes up on both legs. I'm trying to anchor down through the backs of my thighs, keeping my alignment by really twisting away and twisting in that plane of motion away from my pelvis. And I'm really squeezing my core and getting that polarity, pushing down to rotate, taking my breath and finding balance between left and the right sit bone. Inhale, lift up powerfully. Let's leave your left hand in front of the left ankle. Reach up and go down. And if this is all you can do, totally good. Remember I said any part of the pose is still a pose. I'm going to go all the way down. Really choose to extend up, toes up. Really keep the toes straight up. Sink my right sit bones down and really reach up. And pull my hips away. And create that lengthening in the QL and the hip flexor. Taking a deep breath in, really stretching up. And come back. And I'm going to quickly roll down, Pilates, roll up, and all the way. And sitting up nice and tall. And this time it's wide-legged forward fold. This is where you limit the amount of fold, and you might want to keep your knees bent. Whichever way, there's no wrong way, really, in yoga. Toes up, sitting up nice and tall. Slight anterior tilt of your pelvis, sitting up nice and tall. Keep the toes straight up, and you're going to go forward, forward, forward. Toes up, toes up, toes up. Bring it down onto your elbows and see if you can pull forward. In fact, that doesn't feel so good to me today. I'm going to keep my anterior tilt, or I'm going to roll forward my pelvis. So enabling me to have an extension in my spine. Sitting up nice and tall, I'm going to just go slightly forward. As long as my toes are flexed up, toes pointed straight up, you're going to feel an intense stretch if you're really honest with yourself. This feels good to me today, inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling and coming back up. I'm going to pull my legs forward, sitting up nice and tall. Arms go forward and roll all the way down. Arms up. Inhale. Exhale all the way forward, sitting up nice and tall. And now it's seated lotus. It's my favorite pose. It's something you have to sort of work on. So Sukhasana might work just fine, but lotus it's working towards having the outside of your right foot into the hip crease, and then working to have the left foot, the pinky side, into the left hip crease, and sitting up nice and tall. Eventually, things like this come easy, but if it doesn't, it's something that I want you to work on. Something that I want you to work on is maybe working up to it. You might want to grab this leg, keeping a slight extension though, because a lot of the times I see a lot of cranking of the elbow or the ankle to get it up there, and that's not so healthy because you're going to pull some type of a ligament there in the foot. So keeping it straight, I advise my students just to pull it back, pull it back, pull it back enough to where you feel comfortable to place it there and lower down slow, right? Same thing on the right side. So before you do anything, just kind of play with that hip joint to make sure you have that flexibility. So I'm going to go ahead and position myself this way, and I work on really pulling it together and then diving my knees down. And I like to flip it and do the other way too. Sitting up nice and tall, close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and exhale. I really work on anchoring in this position, really anchoring through the outsides of my thighs and my sits bones while pulling my spine up toward the ceiling, towards the crown of my head. Taking a deep breath in and out, in and out. Taking a deep breath in and out. Open your eyes, undo the legs. This time I'm going to hook my left ankle on top of the right crease first, and then the other side. Work on lowering my knees down, sitting up nice and tall, sitting up nice and tall. Really working to bring my knees all the way down to the mat, sitting up nice and tall. Really working into the hips. This requires flexibility in your hips, in your knees, as well as your ankles and your low back as well. So really remember that and just sit here and breathe into it. It may not happen by virtue of the way we're genetically inclined and we're built, but it can be a goal that you can work towards. I'm going to roll down into a reclined position to stretch and twist. And as we settle back down into Shavasana, sitting up nice and tall, last roll down all the way. And I'm going to stay here, move my hair tie. I like to start with my right leg, but I always like to make sure I'm rooting the back of my left thigh down to enable this upward motion. That's the polarity part, you guys. And anchoring place needs polarity to pull away from, right? So that's the way I want you to start to think about it. You might have been given a strap to grab if you don't have enough flexibility. From here, you can keep your knees bent. I like to come up and really try to see if I can pull my leg forward and really deeply stretching into the back side of my leg, toes down. Remember, you don't have the heat. So be mindful of your restrictions and really feel into that space. I like to work on really getting a full extension of my knee and really gently nudging into that space where it feels good, and bring it down. The whole time I'm pushing the back of the back of my left leg down onto the mat. I'm going to open up this right leg out to the side. I'm going to feel this nice stretch into my inner thighs, really core activated. Taking a deep breath in, make sure this leg is active, really anchoring down. And come up, grab a hold of this foot from the outside and pull to the left as you rotate to the right, extending your right arm out to the side. Here's where I want you to really push down through the outside of your left leg, the stretched out leg, to enable us to create polarity in our bodies to stretch the opposite direction. Coming back. Settle down, bend this knee and the opposite leg. Stretching the right leg down and this leg goes up. Remember, you can keep it bent. Make sure you have the strap. I like to just do a slight knee extension back and forth. And then once I feel like I'm warmed up, I can go up and really try to create this nice extension in my knee. And then see if how far I can push. My attention is down, directionally down onto the stretched out leg and really pushing down on the mat and really pulling up, taking a deep breath in and exhale. Taking a deep breath in and exhale. And go all the way down and go all the way out to the side, pushing the back side of the right leg down. Heel away, really stretching, stretching, stretching and breathing. Taking a deep breath in and exhale. Taking a deep breath in and exhale. Come all the way up. Grab a hold of this foot from the outside. Outstretch the left arm out and really rotate. Here, you guys, my amplifier's in the way. And stretch. Remember I said I pay attention to the stretched out leg to enable me to go further into the stretch. Because something has to stabilize for me to stretch and go the opposite direction. That's the polarity part. By far is the most important pillar in practicing yoga, the alkaline method way. Coming back. Bring both knees up. And grabbing the outside of the foot, the pinky side, you want to pull it down doing happy baby, like seriously, a happy baby. Pushing down, pushing down. I like to stretch one knee out and back and forth to include a little bit of my adductors, because that feels really good to me. Stay here, taking a deep breath in and exhale. And when you're ready, you can stretch out, place your feet down, feet together, open your knees out. It's Supta Baddha Konasana. When you do that, you guys, some of you might have this arching problem. Really pick up and lower. You might even want to place something under your knees so that your inner thighs and your pubic symphysis can open up nicely. Palm side up and ease into it and let the gravity pull you down. You're working really hard to calm and quiet this side. So anything you can offer, even placing something under the sacrum might help to get this posterior tilt enough to quiet down this area of the body. Palm side up, taking a deep breath in and exhale. Taking a deep breath in and exhale. Fold your knees back together. Stretch your legs out. I'm going to push happy out. And into Shavasana. Feel free to lay in Shavasana for as long as you can. Taking a deep breath in and exhaling. Really want you to pay attention to the buzzing in your body from your head all the way down to your toes. Allowing this healing practice to heal every nook and cranny of your body. This Shavasana, they say, is the most healing part of the practice. So don't cut yourself out short and see if you can stay here for as long as you can. Feel free to pause the video and relax. You can pause your video now if you want more Shavasana. For those of you who are ready, bend your knees, roll over to one side, sitting up nice and tall. So that was the hip sequence. I didn't go too much into the verbal cues because I didn't want to take up too much of your time. I wanted it to be simulated to as closely as possible to your practice at the studio. Namaste, have a great day. Thank you for watching. Your time is valuable to me and I appreciate you being here. If you found my videos helpful, I put out weekly videos for you so that you can benefit from it. So I would love it if you subscribed as well as comment, review me, follow me on social at Instagram, YouTube, as well as TikTok at Dr. Connie Chung. I'd love to hear from you. DM me, comment below, and let's connect. I'll see you guys all later.